Hi, everybody. This is Nia. I wanted to take a minute to share an experience that I had over Memorial Day weekend that I think is going to help illustrate and explain the importance of never using your doctor's notes for hotels or restaurants or any place of public accommodation. And the reason this is important is because it is dangerous and it does affect all of us, especially those of you who are using it. And I was in that camp. When I first became disabled and had to use Luna, being a Doberman, trust me, at first, especially here in my local area, it was a constant issue. And at first, I did use it until I was better informed and until I realized how dangerous it was. So my experience was I flew out to LA and I'm visiting a lot of places and people that are directly connected to my trauma. So when I flew out on Saturday morning, I spent the whole day with those families and in those places. And so by 6:30 p.m. when I decided to go check into my hotel, I was tired. I was already feeling the effects of all this emotional trip that I've been on, and it was all positive, mind you, but positive or not, my brain still has this way of tripping out even when it's good. So I could feel that coming on. I was tired, I was hungry, and I still had an evening event that I wanted to attend. So when I walked in, I was tired. I had maybe a spoon left at this point. So when I walk in, the gentleman says, "I'm sorry, we don't allow pets in our hotel." And I said, "Oh, okay, well, thank you for informing me, but this is my task trained service dog. She's protected under the ADA." And he goes, "Oh, okay. Can I see her certification?" And I say, "Well, sir, I'm not required to have certification, so I don't have one to present to you." And he goes, "What about your doctor's note?" I said, "Well, you're not entitled to my doctor's note either. However, how about I pull up the laws? I'm going to show you about the certification. I'm going to show you the two questions you can ask me." Because I could tell the guy, he wasn't trying to block my access necessarily. He's just really not handling it properly, right? But apparently I came off as uncooperative because he lost his shit on me, basically got really rude and forceful and combative with me. And I'm trying to remain calm because I could tell he was frustrated, but he didn't realize he was frustrated for the wrong reason. So as the more I try and explain to him, the more frustrated he gets, and he finally says, "Every person that's been here before you with dogs, they show me a doctor's note or they show me their certification." And I said, "Well, that's unfortunate because they're the ones that are wrong. I don't need to do that. And you're asking me to do something that's not appropriate." And he goes, "You know what? You're going to talk to my lawyer." So by the time we get to the "I'm going to call my lawyer," we're 30 minutes in, okay? For those of you who've never worked with lawyers, trust me, they're never at a beck and call, especially on a weekend. So I'm thinking, this is insanity. How many hours am I going to have to wait? Luckily, the lawyer called back. At least he said it was a lawyer that called back within another 30 minutes. So now I'm 1 hour in. And he asked me the appropriate questions. I discussed with him the situation, asked for his cooperation in educating his client, because I almost ended up in the hospital because of this guy and because of his insistence that he was owed something that he was not. And all because his previous experiences had conditioned him to believe that he was entitled to something. And obviously either fake handlers or misinformed handlers or handlers that are just wanting to make their lives easier by having those documents conditioned this guy to think he was entitled to something like that. It took my own experiences early on to understand why I was contributing to the problem, because it's like, what if your service dog was in the habit of jumping up on you? And every time you did that, you fed him a treat. You're reinforcing the behavior. Every time you hand a gatekeeper your letters and your certifications and whatever magical documents you think you have, that's what you're doing. You're literally reinforcing inappropriate and dangerous behavior. Because had that been somebody else who had been held up that long and under those circumstances, and it was really stressful, mind you, there's people coming in and out. For those of you that suffer from PTSD and have high paranoia with it, a bunch of strangers in a strange place by myself, it was horrific. And I really thought at one point that I would end up in the hospital. So that is the consequence of that behavior. So for those of you that do that, please don't. There's other ways to handle it that will actually help solve the problem rather than perpetuate it. So what we recommend is that whenever you have somebody who asks you for certifications or for your doctor's notes, give them an ADA information card, and you will be amazed how people will just take that as whatever they thought they were getting, and it's going to educate them, and it's going to give them resources that they can go and learn about it. And you don't even have to do it yourself. You just hand them a card and say, I'm sorry that you don't get that, but here's some information, okay? If they still insistent, ask for managers. If managers aren't helpful, talk to a corporate location. If that doesn't work, let us know in group or reach out to advocates that you know and let them get involved to educate them. But please stop using those notes because it does put other people in danger. Because I think I've been a couple of the handlers that I'm closer with in our groups, they would have ended up in the hospital or possibly severely hurt, all because of this one belief that he was owed some sort of document. So I hope that clarifies and addresses the issue of using documentation during public access issues. If you guys need help or have any questions, please let the admins know. And I hope the video was helpful.